My fiancée demanded, "I need to own your inheritance or I'm calling off the wedding." I calmly replied, "Then call it off." She thought she had tricked me until she realized luxury apartment was entirely in my name. Her reaction. When she saw the contract was priceless. I never expected a breakup-level argument in a freshly painted penthouse. It was supposed to be our future home. Empty rooms, stacked boxes, and 2 glasses of wine on the counter. Instead, it felt colder than any unfinished apartment should. Sarah set her glass down carefully, as if rehearsing a speech she'd been planning all day. "Daniel, we need to talk about your inheritance. This apartment has to be ours, really." I nodded. "It is going to be our home. What's bothering you?" "That's not what I mean." Her voice sharpened. "If everything is only under your name, this apartment, the money your aunt left you, then what am I in this relationship? I need my name on the documents. 50-50 is how couples show trust." I just breathed out slowly. "You know that inheritance was left to me. I used it to buy this place for both of us, as an investment for our future." She stood up so fast her chair scraped the floor. "You're not listening. This isn't a discussion, it's a condition. If my name isn't on everything, then we're not getting married. You pick, shared ownership or wedding cancelled." For a second I studied her. There was zero fear in her eyes, just calculation, like she was negotiating a contract, not talking to her fiancé. So I answered calmly, almost relieved, "Then call it off." She blinked in shock, then smirked as if she'd already won. "Fine, you'll regret this." She grabbed her designer bag and strutted out, thinking I'd run after her. She had no idea the apartment she was trying to claim was legally, completely, undeniably mine, and I had the papers to prove it. My aunt wasn't just a nice relative who left me some money. She basically raised me. My parents died young, and she stepped in like it was the most natural thing in the world. She never married, ran a solid small business, and lived what she always called a calm, financially bulletproof life. She taught me everything: budgeting, saving, thinking before spending, and, this part hits harder now, how to recognize people who see you as a walking wallet. When she passed, she left me about $1.2 million after taxes. Her last piece of advice was straight from her no-nonsense personality. "Use this to build your life, Daniel, and protect it from anyone who only sees dollar signs." I didn't think I'd ever have to remind myself of her warning. I met Sarah about a year after. We were working on the same project. She was in marketing, confident, polished, the type who always knew exactly how she looked in every angle. She was funny, charming, easy to talk to. She made me feel like I wasn't just some architecture nerd buried in blueprints all day. At first, things felt normal. But as months passed, I started catching little hints of her priorities. She insisted we go to restaurants where a single cocktail cost more than a full meal at normal places. She dropped names of luxury brands like she was taking attendance. Every time we passed a jewelry store, she'd slow down like she expected something. It wasn't toxic yet, just noticeable. But the moment I got the inheritance, the subtlety evaporated. Suddenly every conversation started with, "Babe, now that we can afford it." And then came a list. A destination wedding, a new car, some business ideas she wanted me to fund, and a bunch of renovations for a house we didn't even own yet. At first I thought she was just excited. Then I realized she was planning a lifestyle, and I was supposed to bankroll it. I didn't buy the penthouse to flex or impress people. I bought it because the price was good, the location was solid, and real estate had always been something my aunt wanted me to invest in. It checked all the boxes: practical, smart, future-proof. I paid in full, clean, simple, straightforward. Sarah acted like we'd won the lottery. She took videos of the lobby, the elevator, the rooftop view. She posted future home captions 5 times a week. She was already planning decor with her friends before the keys were even in my hand. The first argument about ownership came soon after we got engaged. I mentioned the contract wasn't finalized yet, and she immediately asked, "So you're putting my name too, right? We're getting married anyway." I told her the truth. The lawyer recommended keeping the paperwork simple and under one name until after the wedding, and then we'd figure things out. That answer wasn't good enough. She didn't yell, but she tightened her jaw the way she always did when she didn't get her way. "Fine, for now," she said. She acted satisfied, but I could tell she was filing that away. My aunt's close friend Kay, a lawyer, had warned me about this. I followed her advice. The penthouse remained entirely mine, legally secure. No loopholes, no "we'll fix it later." Nothing. At the time, I didn't think I'd need to show anyone those documents. Turns out, they ended up saving my sanity. Once we got engaged, Sarah's whole attitude morphed into something louder and more demanding. The wedding budget kept growing. Her opinion on financial equality shifted into, "If we're family, you should be comfortable sharing everything with me." And when I suggested sticking to a budget or saving for emergencies, she'd sulk, freeze me out, or accuse me of not trusting her. The pressure didn't just come from her either. Her mother called unexpectedly, pretending to chat. It wasn't a chat. She lectured me on how a husband should provide, how a wife deserves security, and insisted marriage means no separation of money. It was the politest ambush I had ever faced. The breaking point happened 1 week before we were supposed to send out wedding invitations. Sarah asked to see the penthouse again. She said she wanted to discuss our future. My stomach dropped. I already had a feeling the conversation wasn't going to be about wall colors, and I was right. She walked through the apartment like she was inspecting her newly acquired property, touching things that weren't even unpacked yet. Then came the speech, sharp, rehearsed, and way too confident for someone asking for access to money that wasn't hers. She demanded that my name on the apartment and inheritance be shared with her, threatening to cancel the wedding if I refused. I stayed calm, knowing legally everything was already protected. When I told her then call it off, I wasn't trying to win the argument. I was giving her the honest answer she'd pushed me into. She stormed out like she was the one ending things, like she was teaching me a lesson. She was convinced I'd panic or chase her, or regret everything the next day. She didn't realize I'd already seen this coming and prepared for it. After she walked out, the apartment was painfully quiet. Wine glasses still on the counter, future plans evaporated, and the rooms felt colder than ever. After she left, I felt no heartbreak, no anger, no confusion, only relief that the drama was over. Sarah went radio silent for a week. No messages, no calls, nothing. But she was definitely hinting at drama online. Cryptic quotes, selfies with captions like, "Know your worth" and "Don't settle for bare minimum." Classic pre-breakup PR strategy. I didn't respond. I didn't watch her stories. I didn't ask mutual friends anything. I focused on work and met with Kay, the lawyer, to make sure all the paperwork was airtight. She flipped through every document and nodded. I did everything right. If she comes back and tries anything legal, she's got nothing. Then she gave me an extra layer of protection. A contract transferring the penthouse into a trust I controlled, tying it directly to the inheritance. It basically made the apartment lawsuit-proof. Kay slid the folder toward me. "She wanted to play power games," she said. "Now you're playing chess." Meanwhile, Sarah tried one last attempt at regaining control. She finally called, cold, annoyed, like she was checking whether her threat had worked. "So," she said, "have you thought this through? The wedding is still happening if you do the right thing." I didn't repeat myself. She could see my answer in my calm expression. She exhaled sharply, disappointed. "Fine, good luck then." But she wasn't done, not even close. A few days later, she texted asking to meet at the penthouse, to talk things out and pick up some things she left. I agreed, not because I wanted closure, but because I wanted everything out in the open, and because the documents were ready. She showed up looking way too put together for someone supposedly heartbroken. I could smell the confidence on her. She thought stepping into the penthouse again would trigger guilt or fear or nostalgia. She started talking about second chances, not throwing away love, the whole emotional buffet. Then she suddenly shifted to what she really came for. "We still have one more opportunity to fix this. You can add my name now. It'll show me you're serious about our life together." That's when I walked to the table, opened the folder and laid out every single document she wasn't expecting to see. Her face did the rest. But that part belongs in the development section. When Sarah walked out of the penthouse after the ultimatum, she probably thought I'd spend the next few days pacing around like a rejected contestant on a dating show. She underestimated how fast peace returns when drama leaves. The first 3 days were quiet on her end. Then the social media performance began. Pictures with friends, captions about choosing yourself. A couple not-so-subtle digs like, "Some people only offer love with conditions." I didn't react. Honestly, I didn't even feel tempted to react. Instead, I booked a meeting with Kay, my aunt's lawyer. I showed her what happened and asked the most straightforward question. What do I need to do so she can't pull anything later? Kay flipped through all my existing documents like she was reading a restaurant menu. You're already in a strong position. The penthouse is in your name only. The inheritance is separate property. Your bank accounts are clean, but if you want to make it bulletproof, we'll do one more thing. She introduced me to a conditional transfer to a trust, a legal setup ensuring the penthouse remained fully mine, untouchable even in marriage disputes. It basically reconfirmed that the penthouse was purchased strictly with inheritance money and placed the asset into a trust I controlled fully. If anyone ever tried to challenge it, the paperwork said, "This property is the direct result of the deceased aunt's inheritance, not marital funds." Complicated on paper, simple in effect. No one, not even a spouse, could claim ownership. It felt excessive at first. Then I remembered the look on Sarah's face when she talked about earning half of everything I inherited from a woman she had never even met. I signed the documents right away. And it's a good thing I did, because Sarah wasn't done playing games. A week after the ultimatum, she finally called. No greeting, no softness, no vulnerability, just business. "So, have you made a decision?" she asked, like she was checking the status of a delivery. "I already gave you the answer," I told her. She paused long enough that I could picture her blinking in disbelief. Sarah wasn't used to consequences. She was used to people caving. Her voice turned icy. "Well then, good luck, Daniel." She hung up before I could answer. She probably expected that line to haunt me. But at that point, I'd already met with Kay, signed the trust contract, and had everything locked in. Sarah could file 100 complaints. None of them would go anywhere. Still, she wasn't the type to give up a prize without one last attempt. 2 days after that cold phone call, she texted, "We should talk. I left things at the penthouse and I want closure. If this were any other situation, I would have said no. But I wanted things finished, documents ready, no lingering excuses." She arrived perfectly put together, gave a quick hug, and acted like nothing had happened. "I just want to understand what happened," she said gently. "We shouldn't throw everything away because of a misunderstanding." It was the softest I'd seen her speak in months. But that softness lasted a whole 30 seconds. Because once she got inside the apartment and looked around, she slipped right back into what she really came for. "I'm willing to move past the argument," she said. "If you show me you're serious about us, add my name today, or tell me why you won't." She crossed her arms, waiting. She thought she had regained control. I let her finish, then placed a thick folder on the table. "This is why," I said. She frowned. "What is it?" "Everything you never asked, how the apartment was bought, how I used the inheritance, and what's legally binding." She opened the purchase contract. Only my name appeared. No blanks for hers, no co-owner lines. "You said you'd fix that later." "I said we'd talk later," I corrected, "and we did. You didn't ask, you demanded." She flipped to the trust transfer. Shock crossed her face, then confusion, then anger. "A trust? Are you kidding me? You planned this?" "Yes, once you made everything about money, I protected what my aunt left me." She laughed bitterly. "So you never intended to share anything?" "I wanted a life with someone who doesn't treat money like leverage," I said. "You wanted ownership, not partnership." She shoved the documents aside. "Unbelievable. Do you know how much time I wasted?" Her voice cracked with fury. She paced the living room. "You're cheap, selfish, a mama's boy with money. I should have known." She threw the folder on the floor, then flung her bag, nearly knocking over a decorative bowl. I caught it just in time. "Enough, leave," I said. "No, you can't do this. After everything I put into this relationship." I opened the door. "Sarah, out." She stared, stunned I wouldn't bend, then stormed out, heels clicking, mascara streaking, insults echoing down the hallway. That moment told me everything I needed to know. The woman I almost married loved the lifestyle, not the person paying for it. The next few days were a roller coaster of her emotions, just not directed at me. Mutual friends said she was devastated, then furious, then playing the victim, then claiming I blindsided her. But legally, she had nothing. Not one piece of paper with her name on it. And for the first time since the whole mess started, I felt completely calm. The relationship was over. The war she thought she could start never began. Leaving her parents' house, the world felt silent. In the car, she wiped under her eyes, not really crying. Her fake breaking voice didn't appear. She knew I wasn't buying it. At home, she lingered at the doorway as I grabbed her suitcase. "Can we just talk?" she asked. "About what? You already said everything last night." Her eyes darted, searching for a script she'd forgotten. She repeated her old excuses dressed as vulnerability. But something shifted in me. I wasn't mad, I wasn't hurt, I was done. "You told me I was embarrassing to be around," I said quietly. "You said being with me made you feel like you were settling. You think I forgot that?" She froze. She knew exactly when she'd said it. "And you can't unsay things like that," I added. "Not when you say them every time you don't get your way." For the first time, she didn't push back. She didn't argue, she didn't try to spin it. She just stood there, hands shaking like she was finally seeing the consequences she thought would never land. After I loaded her suitcase into her car, she lingered like she expected me to stop her. I didn't. "Is this really it?" she asked, voice barely above a whisper. "It should have been it a long time ago," I said. "I was just trying to save something you weren't even holding on to." She looked down, swallowed hard, then got in the car. When she pulled out of the driveway, she didn't look back. And the second she was gone, the house felt lighter, not happier, not easier, just honest. For the first time in months, I wasn't negotiating my own worth. I locked the door, sat on the couch, and let the quiet settle. It didn't feel empty. It felt like a reset, a clean start.